So welcome back one and all to the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. Like, share, and follow us. Y'all know what to do. What I like to do is get to the meat and potatoes of everything and give you an idea as to what I think the state of the race is right now between Trump and Harris. And as you can see here on my map, I have got the race right now at this: 235 for Vance, Trump and Vance, 194 for Waltz, 109 are toss-ups. That's the start of the race. And what I'd like to show you is I'm not that far off from Real Clear Politics. So let's go to that slide and I'll show you what Real Clear Politics is doing here as of the 4th of September. So as you can see here, Real Clear Politics has a 219 for Trump. I got a 235. They've got Harris at 208. I've got a little bit lower. Now the difference, and we're going to go back to the previous map, is they're basically saying that here are the toss-up states. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, we all know. They're thrown, North Carolina in there, Georgia, they got Nevada, Arizona. So that's what they have in terms of, the states, that are toss-ups. Now, let's go back to where my map is, and I've added a few states inside there that I think are toss-ups or leaning Republican, and I'll give you my reasons why. So as you can see here from my map, here's where I have it. I've got Nevada toss-up, Arizona toss-up, New Mexico toss-up. I've got Minnesota as a toss-up, folks. I'll give you my reasons. We all know about Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I've got New Hampshire as a toss-up. I've got Virginia as a toss-up, and Georgia. I don't consider North Carolina to be a toss-up, folks. I mean, the last time this was won was in 2008. Barack Obama barely won it. In 2012, it flipped to Romney. In 2016, Trump carried it. In 2020, with supposedly the electorate more going towards Biden, Biden should have won it. Trump still won it. I think North Carolina is a safe state. I think Trump's going to win it by at least 5 or more. That's why I don't consider North Carolina to be a swing state, but I do the others. Now, so here's what's going to happen. Nevada, we put that into what I basically say is going to be leans Republican. Arizona, I believe is going to be likely Republican. New Mexico, I believe is going to be lean Republican. Now, why am I saying that? Trump has made phenomenal inroads with the Hispanic voting community. And there have been some polls that are out there, you can all take a look at them online, that have been showing that New Mexico now is somewhere between 1 to 3 points or whatever. Now, I have a feeling that the shift, if what we're seeing in the national polls and in these swing state polls, I really do believe that with the Hispanic population shifting over to vote for Donald Trump, and with being a border state, and with the no tips on taxes, whatever, I think it's going to take it up over the edge and put it into the column for Donald Trump. Now, I know a lot of people are not saying this. I want to go out a little bit on the limb. There's a way to be safe, and then there's a way to basically say, you know what? What is your gut telling you? What are you reading yourself when you're looking at these polls? I really feel that New Mexico is going to flip. I feel the same way in terms of Nevada. So that's basically where I'm standing on that. Now, the same thing, lately we've seen, why is it that Kamala Harris and whatever, they're thinking of going into New Hampshire? They're sending Tim Walz to do things okay in Minnesota. They're sending their surrogates elsewhere, and they're going back and forth to these places. I have a feeling it's because where they're seeing some of the polling, the internal polling results are showing that Minnesota is within 1 and 3. The same thing is for New Hampshire. There have been some polls that are showing that New Hampshire, Harris is just leading by a couple. And Trump really almost won this against Hillary. And I think it's the same thing. If he was doing it against Hillary, I feel that same type of electorate is coming out, except the only difference is they've replaced a white woman with a woman of color. And I don't think she's going to do as well in those Rust Belt states or up in New Hampshire, which is why I basically say Minnesota I think is going to be leaning Republican. I think that, like I told you, New Hampshire is going to lean Republican. For that same matter, Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, the Republican Revolution, back which brought him into office, and I think just people up there, especially in the rural areas, just fed up with the last 3.5 years. There have been some polls that are showing, Biden won this by over 10, and there are polls that are showing again, Harris somewhere between 1 and 3, she's up. Folks, I just don't believe that she's going to carry Virginia. Now, Georgia, I think that's going to be a likely Republican. PA, I believe that's also going to be like a Republican. I think it's going to be surprising for people. I think he's going to win this by 4 to 5 points. Michigan, I think this is going to be lean Republican. It could be 5 or more, but the reason for Michigan is, folks, is there is that huge Arab vote, and that's coming from not only the Arab Muslims, but the Arab Christians as well. You've got people from Syria, from Jordan, from Lebanon, from Yemen, Egypt, Qatar, they're all over there. And the community probably is around 65 to 70% Muslim Arabs, but there's a huge swath of Christian Arabs over there, and Coptic Christians from Egypt. And then you also have to take a look. There are 2 factions out there. There was the uncommitted, which was being led by a whole bunch of people in the Democratic Party, especially Rashida Tlaib, who's the representative out there in Michigan. And then there's another group that's out there huge, which is what's the abandoned Biden group, but now they're calling themselves abandoned Harris. And that's being led by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Abdul Salam out there. And the differences between the two is that the abandoned Harris group, they don't want the Harris-Biden so-called coalition to win. They don't want Harris to win at all. And they're willing, when you listen to what their group says, that if Trump comes in as a byproduct of that, so be it. They're willing to take their chances for the next 4 years. But their ultimate goal is to not allow Kamala Harris to be elected as vice president, all because of what's happening in terms of the Palestinian Hamas Israeli situation. So I think that's going to be huge, folks. It was over 130,000 uncommitted vote that was there. Where are they going to go? Maybe they're going to go the third party, Jill Stein. Maybe they're going to Cornel West. Kennedy tried to take his name off the ballot, but the Michigan Board of Electors, want to keep that on because they feel that by putting him there, that hurts Trump more than it hurts, Harris. Anyways, I just feel anecdotally, we know a lot of friends, people over there, in that area of Dearborn, Michigan. And from what I'm being told, when you've got Black Americans, especially young Black males, they are not voting for Kamala. And especially young Black males who are Muslim, no way are they voting for Kamala Harris. They're just not going that direction. They're either going to go for Trump, or they're going to, for most of the, the young Black males, they're going to go for Trump. Now, there's others inside there that might go for the third parties. And then I'm looking at the fact that if you take a look at Wisconsin, that also I think is going to be likely Republican. And I just can't see that if Pennsylvania goes, Michigan goes, I just can't see Wisconsin not going. So, folks, when you take a look at all of that and you see what you have, I've got the final tally as Trump Vance 344, Harris Waltz 194, an absolute electoral landslide. And at the same time, it's going to be in terms of the national popular vote, Trump is going to obviously dominate in terms of that. Now, to give you an idea as to what the betting markets are, let's take a look at that slide, and we're going to go to that right now. So here you see the betting markets on Polymarket, and as of this is September 4th, 2024. Yesterday, this was 51 or 52. So it's gone up 2% now. Now this is going to change back and forth, but folks, this is where people they're putting their money where their mouth is or whatever. All right, so these are the betting markets that's there. Even Nate Silver, who I don't have a lot of, confidence in, and I happen to feel that, he's out there now because he was kicked out of 538. So it seems that he's trying to do, his revenge tour or whatever. But Nate Silver basically has it around, 55, 56%, for Trump too. So, there is that. As somebody that was so opposed to Trump, back in 2016. When he was basically saying that there was like an 80, 85, 90% chance of Hillary Clinton, and looking at those numbers, completely wrong. But so far, this is what you see here in the betting markets as of today. This is going to change, as you see here, Trump up 2, Harris down from yesterday. And then if all that doesn't make you start to think as to what's going on, even the internals of the Harris AWOLs, that's right, he's AWOLs, folks. He's AWOL. Remember when they tried to, the reporters were asking what he thought of the American citizen that was killed, murdered by Hamas, and the other 5 hostages that were found dead as well, sucking on his ice cream cone, basically waving to the reporters and saying, "That's it, folks. See you later." What a coward, folks. What a coward that is. And then, like I want to show you, if you take a look at Breitbart has a story that was done by Politico, and I just want to go to that and read a few excerpts and show you that the internals of what's happening in the Harris AWOLs campaign, they also know they're in a lot of trouble, folks, not only in the Rust Belt states, but also in the Sun Belt as well. Let's go to that Breitbart document, right now. So here you see this, folks, Kamala Harris campaign. It's reallocating millions to down ballot races after the post-convention no bounce. Most conventions have a bounce. At this point in time, okay, Biden had a 10-point bounce after the DNC. Clinton had a 7-point bounce. Kamala didn't have anything, folks. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. And so what they're doing is, as Breitbart is reporting from the Politico, is that they're setting a questionable, why are they doing this? $25 million? They didn't do that in 2020 when they absolutely, they were rabid in terms of, trying to bring down Donald Trump, and the Republicans. So they didn't even allocate this in 2020 at that time. Now they're allocating $25 million. And as they said, in an early investment, far more money than the top of the ticket has sent in past election years. This is according to Politico. And then it says it's going on the defense. Harris and her top surrogates were dispatched to blue states. To blue states. Why are they being dispatched to blue states, which is where Trump is showing unbelievable strength? Now, the down-ballot spending also follows a terrible week, capped by the campaign's trashing of the 13 Gold Star families. Just another absolute misstep, folks. Just an absolute misstep. And then what happened? The Gold Star families, they put together a video and they just absolutely obliterated, just completely obliterated the narrative against Harris and, AWOLs. Now, here's what, just to go, in 2020, the DNC, they transferred $5 million to the DCCC committee, and they only gave $1 million to the Senate campaign in mid-October. This is according to filings from the Federal Election Commission back in 2020. Basic Gary Peters said that the funds are going to help Senate Democrats reach more voters, increase the strength of our campaigns, and ensure Democrats protect our Senate majority. But they're saying it's just not the timing. It's the amount of money. $25 million, dwarfing 2020's investment of 5 to 6 million. You're talking 5 times as much. Oh, here's this thing in terms of snub. Remember what she's doing now? She doesn't want to hear from the reporters, so she's putting earbuds in her ears. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Now, one of the things that's happened is people have been talking about this, saying that, oh, but you know what? She's raised historic amounts of money. Well, yeah, the money has been historic, but these were the funds that were being held by donors and huge PACs because they knew that Joe Biden was in there. They didn't want to waste their money. So they were holding back. As soon as Kamala came in the picture, well, guess what? They put that money and they sent it in. So are you really going to say that it was her that actually raised the money? I guess you could say that, but because of her, that money was now being given. But that money would have been given to Biden if he had shown signs that he could win. But that was the reason. Anyways, though, like it says, this massive reallocation, they're saying, suggests that Harris might lack the ability to motivate voters in down ballot races. So here's a question. If you have all this excitement, all this joy, all this phenomenal, support coming from the grassroots, and it's all organic, well, then wouldn't the presidential coattails bring those other people up as well? You would think so. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, and follow. You all know what to do. Take a look at our other video links above and below. I'll leave you with my final thought as always. When you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.